I'd like to invite Merillin from Startup Estonia to come up. She has a bit of information to share, and then we're actually going to have a little bit of a sort of dialogue up here for a few minutes to share some information about sort of what to do next.
Hello,
so
yes.
Please stand up. Welcome, Merillin.
Thank you.
Hello again.
Hello.
So yes, I know you're all excited about hearing who the winners are and everything, but are all the startups who pitched, raise your hands, who pitched today? Okay, I want you to give yourself a very big round of applause because all of the startups that I saw, yes, come on. They worked hard this whole weekend and then they stood here in front of you. So thank you for that. I saw some really, really good pitches today. Maybe for those of you who have never met me, I am Merillin. I work in Startup Estonia on the Estonian Startup Visa project. Some of you might have seen our booth and came up to talk to us. Thank you for that. But Startup Visa basically is a visa process for founders and employees from outside of EU to relocate to Estonia to either come to work in Estonian startups, where we have tons of jobs right now, or they can come with their own company to relocate to Estonia and to incorporate in Estonia as an Estonian company and live there as residents. So this is what I do. I'm here in Istanbul for the 4th time, I think, with Etohum, twice in Startup Turkey, twice in Startup Istanbul. Why we're here is that we see that a lot of founders from Turkey and the region are very interested in that program, so which makes me very happy. And it's really, really cool to see that all of those amazing startups that we have on stage here are actually interested in coming to Estonia. If you have any questions, I think as long as we see the white smoke, we can have those questions. But why I'm on stage is I'm not going to announce the winner just yet. Let's keep the excitement going. But one of the teams will be awarded with the Startup Estonia Special Prize. And they have to get ready to go to Tallinn on the 11th until the 15th of November to participate at Tallinn Startup Week, which is 65 to 70 events with all of the Estonian unicorns, Bolt, who else? Estonian unicorns, TransferWise, Skype employees, also Playtech, Moniz, Pipedrive. So we have a lot of companies that are pitching in the program. You will meet with founders, you will meet with mentors, they will meet with VC funds from Estonia, from the Nordics. So it's going to be a really, really cool week full of all kinds of startup events that Estonia has to offer. We have 4 tracks, community connections, then green tech, tech almighty, which is all things tech, and then future founder. So it's going to be a really interesting week. Does anyone have any questions? Because I'm not going to say the winner yet. I'm pretty sure they will have a tough time deciding who the winners are because the quality has been really good today. So you should be really proud of yourselves.
So should we bring Ozan up as well and we can have a little bit of a conversation?
Sure.
Yeah, Ozan, come on up. All right, let's
Come on
welcome Ozan, please. So let's move up just a little bit. So I have a question. If you guys move up just a little bit here, we gotta get close to the audience. So
yes, now I can see you.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the things that happens at these events, and it's the same everywhere, is we get to the end, and the organizers, most of us don't recognize this, but they've been working their butt off night and day for months on months on months, and they get to the front door, and you'll see it tonight. They'll wave and they'll see, we'll see you next year. Right, and all of us that have, kind of ready to keep working on our business go, what do we do tomorrow? And so the question I have for you all, so what are the top couple of things? We've met great people. What are the top couple of things that you would suggest? And maybe we'll start with Merillin, and then we'll come to Ozan. What would you suggest that they do as they get home, or even as they're maybe here for a day or two? What are some of the key things they can do to make sure to keep the energy going and get their venture to the next level?
Something that I am not good at, do the follow-ups right away before they get cold, basically. Yeah. And this is something that I have been learning, just to look through the cards and look through the LinkedIn friend or, you know, the connections. Just do the follow-ups right away or you're never going to do it. And you might lose a really good opportunity to maybe do something with that connection. And I promise to do it on Wednesday, the latest.
All right, I'll be your buddy. I'll confirm.
Have you done them? But yeah, it is really important. Otherwise, these events and visiting those events, there's no point. Of course, you can when you're pitching on stage. This is really try to, if you can get the recording of it, just watch it. Don't be overly critical because you're the only one who notices the mistakes anyway. Yeah.
Except for Ozan.
No, it's what I always say that it's good to be nervous when you're on stage, but it's not okay to just, you know, be completely paralyzed by the fear of making mistakes because you're the only one who knows the pitch 100%. The judges, the audience, they don't know it. So if you mess up, you're the only one who knows it. So no one cares actually. So just kind of see the mistakes. Don't be overly critical and just go from there and learn from them.
So the big point or two is number one, don't wait for people to call you, right?
Oh no,
because that's not going to happen. Don't. Well, clearly that. But
Yeah.
and then the other obviously is make sure that you self-critique, but it's a first or second or third pancake, right? So we're not so worried about it. Just get it on the griddle.
Yeah, I agree on the first one. There's a term we use: is hit the iron when it's hot. When you have met somebody at a physical location, you now have built trust. Now you need to improve on trust. It just stays there, and if I don't remember you, I don't remember you. Don't get pissed off at people when you email them 6 months later. Hey, I met you in Startup Estonia. I go like, which one? Like 2 years ago, last year? Because it takes you 2.5 minutes to pitch. It takes me 30 seconds to forget. I don't have the bandwidth to remember each one and everyone. Don't get pissed off about that. If I remember you, it means you've done something really good or you've done something really bad. If you're in between, I'm probably not going to remember you. Please personalize your LinkedIn invitations. Here is like 300 people overall in the night. There's like about 1,000 people that went in and for it. Oh, I met you in Startup Istanbul. Yeah, like most of everybody else. Remember we discussed this. I was interested in this. So please make us remember. Like it's not me, it's not her. Everybody has a very short amount of time span. The other thing I'll tell, which is I start again like not being able to follow up with myself, and I'm not able to reflect back on myself. Please try to write a few pages of introversion. Like go back to yourself. Here's what happened in Startup Istanbul that I'm really happy with. Here are the 3-4 people that I'm really excited to have met. 3 or 4 things that I think I learned or I understood. Couple of things I agreed, couple of things I didn't agree. But it was an overall, I got this from this event and I hope this could go on. Write it for yourself. If you have the self-confidence, if you have kind of a network, or if you want to build your own repertoire of sending this out, put it on a Medium post. Mention the people. So it's not a one-way relationship. Put Bill as a landmark if he said something and you remember. Put a good word on Burak, put a good word on the sponsors, put a good word. Oh, maybe I'll go to Startup Estonia. Can anybody tell me which is the worst climate to go? Which level of boots should I get?
Tallinn has amazing climate.
Amazing climate.
It's like Florida.
Again, get to
raining
get
and 11
interactions
degrees.
with people. That is important. Otherwise, you come in, you go out, so what? You must also measure the return on investment you spend over here. And if you reflect back and you say, hey, it's not a bad thing that I met 20 people, here are a couple of people I might be interested. And one good news and bad news. Some of you will not be alive in 6 months. Some of you, I mean, hopefully.
Not personally.
Not personally, exactly. I hope well-beings to all of you.
Do you know something we don't know?
Yeah, I hope I'll be around. Your startups may not succeed the way you think they will succeed, and you'll shut it down. That's life. But if you are lucky and you're one of the ones that continues, the ones who are not going well is a really good candidate to go back and take the CTO or ask the CMO or ask the co-founder, say, hey, I think you're really great at sales and I'm really great at technical side. I need somebody. Would you mind kind of giving us a few of your time? maybe that will start as a good relation. Many of you ask me, how am I going to find another co-founder? How am I going to find this? It's in the room. 6 months later, keep up with the people, follow up what they're doing, and shout out, hey, I'm looking for a CTO, can anybody help me? This room and the alumni of previous years might be able to help you, so don't forget this. This is a big family, now you're part of it, welcome. But give and get in return, they'll make you happy.
So one other post-event action that seems like it's appropriate. We saw here startups that all of the founders are technical, all engineers, or all sort of other areas of expertise. And it strikes me that there are other resources they may want to make sure they connect to, because every region of the country or the world is different in terms of the availability of mentors. Can we talk a little bit about mentors? Because that just seems like it's a critical success element. In terms of just even addressing the all engineer or all tech founder, what kind of mentors might they want to look at that would help them, and then we can kind of go into sort of general mentorship. But that seems like probably roughly half are sort of engineering, really super engineering heavy.
So over on this year's sponsors and partners list, there are a lot of universities, there are a lot of accelerator programs, there are a lot of incubators. I'm sure you guys have built a huge network of people to come and help the startups in Estonia. But your advantage is here, you met these people and they have programs. Whatever you have and as an ask, as a need, you might simply say, hey, I think I'm good at this, but I suck at this. Can you please help me find this guy who I met? Or meet the people who you had been on a boat with, you had been on lunches with, you had been in coffee with, and say, thank you so much for your guidance. I'm also looking for this. Please do not be shy in asking. The worst part of asking is the anticipation. Expect that no one's going to reply to you, but most of the time, people are generous with their time and they're generous with their offers. And no one's going to ask you, oh, I need to be in your advisory board to start making introductions. That's not what we do here. We'll be generous with our time, we'll be generous with our contacts. As long as you know what you're doing, you can express, as Bill said many times, express yourself cleanly and articulate yourself, your problem, then we'll be happy to help. That's part of the good part about being a mentor.
I'm really fortunate to come from Estonia, where I see that the first employees of Skype and the founders of Pipedrive and Bolt and everyone they want to give back. And yes, I really agree that ask and you will be given. And whoever is too proud or who has enough or too much pride to ask, then they will fail anyway. If you will get rejected, fine, that's their loss, but definitely I hope that in your home country you will find that supporting system as well, because in Estonia we actually have the Startup Leaders Club, where all of the Estonian-based startup founders, they have their own Slack group, so they actually, if they need mentorship, if they have problems with, I don't know, French banks or anything like that, it's all a huge network, and it's, I read a news article today that said that the success is not in competition but collaborative efforts. And it's definitely the case in Estonia, where the successful founders who are going to, I don't know, Burning Man every year and kind of traveling on their yachts and whatever, they are never too proud to give back to the community. Whether it's in hackathons or even our founders started a €1 million educational fund. Kind of look for those people, because they're in every community, and just approach them, because they have been in your shoes and they remember it, and they don't want you to go down that path. They actually want to save people from getting depressed. And I mean, we all know the stories about founder depression. And at least in Estonia, the founders really want to save the young people or the new founders. So find those people. They're easy to find. And yeah, just approach them.
So I'm sure there's, at least from what we've seen and heard, there's a fair amount of variability in sort of access to resources depending on where you are regionally. Are there some virtual programs that those are maybe or in areas of the world that they're maybe less, whether it's mentors or access to programs, virtual accelerators? Are there programs that we might highlight that, or resources we might highlight that are virtually available? Or maybe a good thing to put a list together of.
I don't have
Yeah.
any virtual examples, but is there anyone from Georgia here? Or close by? So my background is from Garage 48, which does hackathons all over the world, and they are having a hackathon in December in Georgia. And then I heard that there is at least one company here who is going to another one of Estonia's like kind of boot camps that is organized by Ragnar Sass, who is one of the co-founders of Pipedrive. So we're the small overachiever from Estonia that we try to get everywhere. But I am sure that there are other companies all around the world who come to those emerging markets, so to say, or where talent is. So look for these things and never be too grown up to go to a hackathon.
That's a really good advice, because you should not lose your ability to try new things. You should not lose your ability to kind of fail. I had a startup who came that are pre-launched, and I kind of over-grilled them, I think, this time. But they were...
Hard to imagine.
Yeah,
Hard to
I've never
imagine.
done that in my life before. And they unfortunately said, well, we don't want to launch because we don't want to risk our brand. I said, who cares about your brand? You don't exist for anybody at the moment, so there's nothing to risk. And this is something I really give as an advice to pre-launch teams. Just sell shit. Just get it out the door and do your best and fail. One of the stars reminded me that I didn't mention the hat story. So I got this hat last week because I have no musical skills whatsoever. Never been in my life being able to play anything. You don't want me to sing it, even karaoke's. But I want to kind of experience learning something occasionally. And I'm super volatile and I don't know how to do this stuff. But I got this hat because I won an instrument, a device that I wanted to play. I don't know anything about it, but I'm really trying to play it, because every time I play it, I go like, oh, I suck at this. And I go like, but I'm getting better. Every day I'm trying. And I want to always be in the mood of being able to try and kind of breathe in my fear and breathe in my experience. And I kind of give the same advice to the founders. If you are afraid of launching, it means you are late to launch. If you're afraid to send out that message to investors that you met, it means you're afraid to launch. If you're afraid to go to the next guy and ask, hey, I need a co-founder, would you want to kind of come and share, I'm okay sharing my wealth and sharing my equity with you, you're afraid to launch. You're afraid to move forward. And that fear is actually what drives a lot of founders to depression. A lot of founders are having really hard times. So raising $5 million comes with a lot of burdens. Hiring a lot of people comes with a lot of burdens. So you guys are crazy, because it is a really difficult job. I couldn't even manage a team of 5 that I hired. It's really stressful. So you need to always be in the mood of, what's the worst thing I could do? I will try, I will learn, I will try, I will learn, and keep that spirit up. And virtual or face-to-face, just reach out to people, talk to individuals that you met. This is, again, we also have a company that's doing virtual psychology, like psycho-counseling sessions. If you need those, go ask the team. Maybe they'll find something for you. And one shout out to one of the founders here. They're also teaching how to play instruments. So as a novice, I'm now going to be their customers. Never be afraid of asking, oh, here's my product, would you want to use it? Be afraid, but again, once you realize you're afraid, just take a step and things will get better.
So I want to segue on your comment about launching, because that's obviously huge. Especially with a lot of engineers, right? They want to make things perfect. And so I'd like us each to mention 2 books that we would recommend, maybe we recently read or that are sort of timeless. I actually think, based on your comment about launching and sell shit, there's one, who here reads Seth Godin or has read any Seth Godin work? Right? If you're not on his daily blog, I would highly recommend subscribing to it. It's phenomenal. It takes, it's usually less than a paragraph, sometimes a little more. Great information. But the book that he wrote that you actually have to, it's so small, you have to buy it in packs of 10. It's meant to give out. It's called Ship It. And the whole idea is launch, get it out. And the good things happen when you put it out. People respond to it. You see interest and all that. So Ship It. The other book I'd recommend is really for any company that's less than $1 million in revenue. It's a fairly new book. It is called Profit First. It's a way to manage your books that's totally different. It's not GAAP accounting. It's accounting that actually forces you to pay yourself, which is one of the things kind of based on the small plate theory, if you've ever dieted. Most in North America, we traditionally have had very big plates, and we tend to eat a lot of food. The small plate diet says you sort of eat what's in front of you. So if you have a small plate, you eat less. So if the owner sees less available cash, they spend less. They tend to conserve cash much better than they do otherwise. There's a whole process to this, but there's a theory that he goes through that is actually most of us have experienced, is they've actually tested if you have a full tube of toothpaste, it lasts roughly 4 weeks. If you have 1/10 of a tube of toothpaste, it lasts roughly 4 weeks. So there's a whole amazing study around this. So most people here think they need to fundraise. You don't. You need to learn how to manage your cash. It's a totally different thing. And the cash you earn is spent a whole lot different than the cash that you're given. So 2 thoughts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm really very keen on reading other people's mistakes. So one definitely is, and their success stories.
Yeah.
And the success stories that you have read, once you read the actual part, you go, oh, shit, that guy got really lucky. So most of these stories always have a very interesting twist when things get lucky. So delivering happiness, to me, is a must for founders. That is really, really, really important. The Everything Store, the first one talks about Zappos. The second one is the Amazon story. That is really important. If you haven't watched the movie or if you haven't read anything about Bad Blood, you need to read about Bad Blood. So please don't do that. So those 3 are actual things that you are pretty known. For scale-ups, the book I would suggest is Play Bigger. It talks about category creation and how you can actually build and dominate a market, which is really, really important. And for all the founders, this is I used to get this as an award and give it to my founders, which is the wait, where did this go? I'm super late on this. Founder's Dilemma, absolutely a must. As Bill said, you don't have to raise money because raising money has consequences. So you'll understand those consequences better if you read the Founder's Dilemma.
All right, Merillin, bring us home.
I'll bring you home. So one of the books that really changed my life after being burned out twice was a book called The Happiness Advantage. It just teaches you those small steps that will make you happier in your work and in your daily life. But the second thing I'm going to suggest, when I read, I try to not read too much about my work because it's all consuming and I kind of want to get out of that. And since my bachelor's is in English and poetry and all of that, I am really, really big on beat poetry. I wrote my bachelor's thesis about Allen Ginsberg and Gregory Corso. And for all of the startup founders, if you haven't heard about it, read it. Read the Gregory Corso Atomic Bomb. It's complete surrealism. It's shaped like an atomic bomb, and I think you will find a lot of parallels in your founder life. So I actually advise you to, whether it's poetry, whether it's fiction, whether it's biographies, get out of the startup bubble sometimes. It's really good.
That's awesome. Please help me thank Ozan and Merillin. It's fantastic to have them here. Thank you. Thank you.
Award time.
Yeah, well, let me see what our layout here. If you could shut my mic off for just one moment.
Yes.
Starting with Startup Estonia?
Yes.
Yep.
With Startup. Yes. Now up.
All right. So there's a transition we have to go through, and unfortunately there's not a curtain that comes down, so we're very live here. So please help me welcome Merillin back to the stage to
Anywhere.
to give out the Startup Estonia Award. So please welcome her.
Yes, thank you once again. Thank you. I'm sure you're all sick of me by now. I started this conference on Friday, and now I'm one of the people that is going to end it. So as I said, one of the teams will get a chance to travel to Estonia. I will share the details later. Sander, who is the main organizer of Startup Week Tallinn, can tell you a lot more about it. But long story short, the team who will come to Estonia, all expenses covered, accommodation, travels, is Neurosis. Where are you?
Please, you go in here. You go in.
She will tell you something.
Come on, guys.
What's that?
Turn, 2, 1,
Yep.
startups.
And who's giving them?
Run, Merillin again, about me.
Okay. Does Merillin know she's going to be going? Okay.
And scale-ups.
Yeah.
Thank you.